Welcome back to Coin Quest. Today, we are diving deep into the story of a small coin with a big legacy, the 1960 Lincoln 1-cent penny. This little copper coin might be sitting quietly in your change jar right now, but it could be worth a small fortune. Stick with me as we explore its fascinating history, the rare variations that collectors hunt for, and the current market value that might just surprise you. Let's rewind to the year 1960. Dwight D. Eisenhower was president. The U.S. was in the thick of the Cold War. Elvis Presley ruled the radio waves, and the U.S. Mint was hard at work striking billions of pennies. But this year was special for one important reason: a major change in the way the date appeared on the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln cent, which had been in circulation since 1909, featured the familiar profile of President Abraham Lincoln on the front and the iconic wheat ears on the back until 1958. By 1960, the reverse had already changed to feature the Lincoln Memorial. However, that year introduced something collectors now refer to as the small date and large date varieties. That's right. In 1960, both the Philadelphia and Denver mints accidentally released coins with two different styles of numerals in the date. These subtle differences, especially between the 6 and the 0 in 1960, created a stir in the numismatic world. So, what exactly makes the 1960 penny so special? Let's break it down. There are four major varieties of the 1960 Lincoln cent: 1960 small date from the Philadelphia Mint, 1960 large date from the Philadelphia Mint, 1960 D small date from the Denver Mint, 1960 D large date from the Denver Mint. Now here's where it gets interesting. The 1960 D small date variety is the key coin that collectors go crazy for. This variety was struck in lower quantities compared to the large date version and was initially overlooked by the public. As a result, many of these rare small date coins ended up in circulation, making them a treasure to find today. Adding to the rarity and appeal are certain error coins from 1960, including double die obverse and repunched mint marks, especially from Denver. If you spot a doubling effect on the numbers or letters, or see a faint second mint mark under the first, you might be looking at a highly valuable error coin. Condition matters. As with most collectible coins, the value of a 1960 penny is heavily influenced by its grade. Coins are rated from poor to mint state using the Sheldon scale, which goes from 1 to 70. A 1960 D small date penny in average circulated condition might fetch a few dollars, but in mint state, especially MS65 or higher, it can be worth hundreds or even thousands. Red pennies, meaning coins that retain their original copper luster, are especially valuable. A bright red MS67 1960 D small date coin can reach prices upwards of $5,000 at auction. Even a standard Philadelphia small date in brilliant red condition can bring in $100 to $300 or more. So, what's the 1960 Lincoln penny worth today? As of now, based on recent coin auction data and current trends in the numismatic market, a 1960 large date in circulated condition is typically worth 1 to 10 cents. A 1960 small date in circulated condition ranges from 50 cents to $5. A 1960 D small date can go for $10 to $50 in lower mint states. High-grade red 1960 D small dates can reach into the thousands. Error coins and repunched mint mark varieties can also command prices ranging from $100 to several $1,000 depending on condition and rarity. Want to know if your 1960 penny is the rare one? Here's how you can tell. Look at the shape of the number 6 and the position of the 0. On a small date penny, the 6 is more closed and the 0 sits higher than the 9 and the 6. On the large date, the numbers are more aligned and the 6 is open. It might sound minor, but those tiny differences are worth big bucks. Also, use a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to check for doubling or mint mark errors. If you spot something unusual, consider getting your coin professionally graded by a service like PCGS or NGC. The 1960 Lincoln penny is more than just a coin. It's a piece of American history hiding in plain sight. Whether you're a seasoned coin collector or someone just curious about what's in your pocket change, it's always worth checking. You never know, that humble penny could be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Thanks for watching. If you found this video helpful or learned something new today, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into rare coins and hidden treasures. And remember, always check your change. You might be sitting on a small fortune. Stay curious, stay collecting, and I'll see you in the next one. Today we are diving deep into one of the most common yet surprisingly valuable coins in American change. The 1980 Lincoln 1-cent penny. You might think it's just another copper-colored coin that you toss into a jar or forget in your couch cushions, but you might be shocked to know that this seemingly ordinary penny could be worth much more than just 1 cent. So grab your coins, and let's see if you might be sitting on a small fortune. Let's go. First up, a bit of history. The 1980 Lincoln penny features the bust of President Abraham Lincoln, which has been used on the penny since 1909 to honor his 100th birthday. Designed by Victor David Brenner, this portrait has become iconic in American coinage. The reverse of the coin in 1980 still carried the Lincoln Memorial design, which had been introduced in 1959, replacing the earlier wheat ears design. The Lincoln Memorial reverse shows the famous monument in Washington, D.C., and if you look very closely, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside the memorial. This design stayed in use until 2008, after which the penny design changed again in 2009 to celebrate Lincoln's 200th birthday. But back to 1980 now. Let's talk about the composition. This is important because it can impact the coin's value. Pennies minted in 1980 were still made mostly of copper. In fact, each penny contains 95% copper and 5% zinc. That's a big deal because in 1982 the U.S. Mint switched to a cheaper copper-plated zinc composition due to the rising cost of copper. So the 1980 penny is one of the last few years of solid copper coins. Today, the melt value of the copper in a single 1980 penny is actually worth more than 1 cent. Depending on copper prices, it's usually between 2 and 3 cents just in metal alone. However, it's illegal to melt down pennies for their metal content, so the real value of the coin comes from its condition, rarity, and any possible errors. Now let's talk about value. So how much is a 1980 penny really worth if you've got one in average circulated condition, the kind you find in your pocket change? It's probably still worth face value, just 1 cent. But if you have a coin in pristine condition known as mint state or MS, it could be worth a lot more. Collectors look for coins that have never been used in circulation and have no signs of wear. An MS-65 graded 1980 Lincoln cent can be worth between $5 and $15, and if you go higher to MS-66 or MS-67, the value jumps significantly. Some examples have sold for over $100 at auction. But wait, it gets better. Let's talk about rare errors. Error coins are where the real money comes in. Certain 1980 pennies with minting errors are highly sought after and can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. So what kind of error should you be looking for? First is the double die error. This happens when the die used to strike the coin has a slight shift or doubling effect. You'll see it most often in the lettering, like the word liberty or the phrase "In God We Trust," or even the date. If you spot clear doubling with your naked eye or under a magnifier, that penny could be worth big bucks. Some double die 1980 pennies have sold for over $300, and rare strong doubling could bring in even more. Second is the off-center strike. This is when the coin is not properly aligned during the minting process, and a portion of the design is missing. The more off-center it is, while still showing the full date and mint mark, the more valuable it can be. These off-center 1980 pennies can fetch anywhere from $50 to over $200 depending on the percentage of the error. Third is the broad strike error. This occurs when the coin is struck outside of the retaining collar and spreads wider than usual. It creates a flat and smooth edge with no reading. These coins are pretty cool to look at and can also sell for a premium. What about mint marks? Most 1980 pennies were minted in Philadelphia and carry no mint mark. However, if you see a small D under the date, that means it was made in Denver. There's no major difference in value between the D and no mint mark coins unless an error is involved, but in some extremely high grades, the Denver minted pennies can fetch a bit more due to smaller surviving populations and top conditions. So what's the current market like for these coins as of now in 2025? The market is still hot for high grade and error coins. Coin collectors and investors are always hunting for the next rare find, and the demand for certified error coins continues to rise. So if you have a handful of old pennies from the 1980s, it's definitely worth taking a closer look. Get a good magnifying glass, or even better, a coin loop, and inspect the details. Check for doubling, weak strikes, missing details, or misalignments. If you think you've found something rare, consider getting it graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can authenticate the coin and assign it a grade which can increase its value significantly when you go to sell. Final thoughts: the 1980 Lincoln penny might not look special at first glance, but with a little knowledge and a keen eye, you might just uncover a treasure. Whether it's a high-grade coin or a rare error, these little copper pieces from the past can be worth much more than their face value. So before you toss that penny aside, take a second look. You never know what it might be worth. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more coin collecting tips, facts, and hidden treasures from your change jar. Leave a comment below if you have a 1980 penny, or if you've ever found a valuable coin in your pocket. Catch you in the next one. Happy hunting, where we talk about coins, currency, and collectibles that could be hiding in your pocket change. Today we're diving deep into a coin that many people overlook, the 1995 Abraham Lincoln 1-cent penny coin. Now you might be thinking it's just a regular old penny, but there's more to it than meets the eye. So stick around, because by the end of this video you'll know exactly why some 1995 pennies are worth way more than 1 cent, and what to look for in your own collection. Let's kick things off with a little history. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation since 1909. Originally minted to commemorate the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln, it replaced the Indian head cent and became the first U.S. coin to feature a real historical figure. The original design, by Victor David Brenner, featured Lincoln's bust on the obverse, or front of the coin, and 2 wheat stalks on the reverse. This was later changed in 1959 to feature the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo, and that's the design you'll see on the 1995 penny. Now here's the deal with the 1995 penny. While most of them are only worth face value, there is a specific variety that collectors go wild for, and that's the 1995 double die obverse penny. So what's a double die? Well, it's a type of mint error that occurs when the coin's die itself has been engraved with a doubled image. This results in coins that show noticeable doubling, especially in the lettering like Liberty, Indiana, God We Trust, and the date 1995 on this particular penny. The doubling is very prominent and visible without magnification. The double die error was found on coins minted in Philadelphia, meaning these coins will not have a mint mark under the date. That's your first clue. But remember, not all 1995 pennies from Philadelphia have this error. Most are standard issues. So what makes this error penny special is how visible the doubling is, and how many collectors want it in high grade. So how much is it worth? Well, it depends on the condition of the coin. If you find one in circulated condition, it could be worth anywhere from $20 to $50 depending on the clarity of the doubling. But here's where it gets interesting. In uncirculated condition, these coins can fetch even more, especially if they've been graded by a professional coin grading service like PCGS or NGC. A 1995 double die penny graded MS65, which stands for Mint State 65, can be worth around $100, and if it's a really clean example with strong eye appeal, it could go for $200 or more. And here's a crazy fact: at auction, some of the finest known examples have sold for over $1,000. That's right, over $1,000 for a penny minted in 1995, just 30 years ago. So yes, some pennies really can be worth a lot of money, And this isn't just about the double die, there are also other errors and varieties to watch for, including off-center strikes, die cracks, and repunched mint marks, although those are much less common in this year now. If you're thinking of checking your change jar, here's what to do. First, look for 1995 pennies without a mint mark, because those are from Philadelphia. Then look closely at the letters in Liberty and In God We Trust. If you see strong doubling, especially on the LIB, the G, and the date, you might just have a valuable coin. It's always a good idea to use a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to confirm. Even if your 1995 penny doesn't have the double die error, it could still be worth keeping if it's in great shape. Coins that haven't been circulated or shown nowhere are always more attractive to collectors, and the better the condition, the higher the value. So what's the current market like? Well, as of 2025, the 1995 double die penny is still in demand. Prices have remained fairly stable, and collectors are always on the lookout for clean examples in higher grades. It's not the rarest coin in the world, but the fact that it's a modern error that's easy to identify makes it especially popular with new collectors and seasoned numismatists alike. So to wrap it all up, the 1995 Lincoln 1-cent penny might just be sitting in your pocket or tucked away in a coin jar somewhere. And if it's got that famous double die obverse, you could be holding a penny worth $50, $100, or even $1,000 depending on condition and grade. Check those coins closely, because you never know what treasure you might find. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more coin tips, history, facts, and rare finds. And let me know in the comments, have you ever found a 1995 double die penny, or do you collect Lincoln cents? I'd love to hear your stories. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you never miss a new upload. Thanks for watching, and until next time, happy collecting and good luck treasure hunting.